Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about my MediaStudies CCR project, focusing on how my product uses and challenges conventions and how it represents social groups and issues. I'll also walk you through my creative process, including the drawing I made of the Real Madrid logo, and how that connects to my overall project, which is based on a movie intro sequence inspired by Taxi Driver. I also want to mention that I worked on this project independently, so every creative decision you see was made by me. So first, I'll start with the conventions. When I was creating my movie intro sequence, I looked closely at the typical conventions used in psychological drama films, especially Taxi Driver. These kind of films usually included dark lighting, slow pacing, and a focus on the main character's mental state. I try to follow these conventions by using dim lighting and creating a serious, almost uncomfortable tone from the very beginning. My goal was to make the audience feel slightly uneasy, just like in the movie Taxi Driver. However, I didn't just follow conventions, I also challenged them. Normally, intro sequences like this rely on heavy live-on footage or detailed scenes. Instead, I incorporated my own drawing of the Real Madrid logo as a part of my creative process. At first, that might seem unrelated, but for me, it represents identity and focus. Real Madrid is a symbol of discipline, ambition, and personal drive, and I wanted to connect the idea to my main character. By including something hand-drawn and personal, I challenged the idea that everything in a film intro has to be purely cinematic or realistic. I added a more creative and symbolic element. Now, I'll walk you through the drawing itself. When I started drawing the Real Madrid logo, I paid attention to detail. The crown, the circular shape, and the letters. I took my time, making sure everything was balanced and clean. This process reflects the same attention to detail I used in my film intro. Just like with the drawing, I carefully thought about every shot, every angle, and every visual choice. While drawing, I realized that the logo is more than just a sports symbol. It represents a group of people united by a shared identity. The idea connects directly to a media representation. In my intro sequence, I focus on representing an individual who feels isolated, which is very similar to the main character in Taxi Driver. This contrast is important. On one hand, you have a strong, united group like Real Madrid fans. On the other hand, you have an individual who feels disconnected from society. This leads into the second part of the question, representation of social groups and issues. My product mainly represents individuals who feel isolated or disconnected from society. This is a key theme in Taxi Driver, where the main character struggles with loneliness and mental health. I try reflecting that by using camera angles that make the character seem small or alone, by avoiding bright, welcoming colors. Instead, I use darker tones to show a more serious and realistic side of life. At the same time, I was careful not to stereotype or exaggerate these issues. I didn't want to make the character seem like a cliche. Instead, I wanted to show a more human and relatable side. Many people experience loneliness or feel out of place at some point, so I wanted my project to connect with that feeling in a realistic way. Another important issue I touched on is how society can overlook individuals who are struggling. In my intro sequence, the character is present but not really noticed by others. This reflects a real-world issue where people can feel invisible even when they're surrounded by others. This idea is also inspired by Taxi Driver, where the main character observes society but doesn't feel like he belongs in it. Working alone on this project also influenced on how I approach the themes. Since I didn't have a group, I had full creative control, which allowed me to make more personal decisions. At the same time, it was challenging because I had to handle everything myself, from planning to filming to editing. But I think that independence actually helped me stay consistent with my vision. To conclude, my product both uses the challenges and conventions of psychological drama film intros. I try to follow key elements such as dark lighting and a more focus on character psychology. I also tried to add my own creative twists using symbolic elements like the Real Madrid drawing, which creates a tone of hard passion for one. In terms of representation, I try to explore themes of isolation, identity, and how individuals can also relate to society. Inspired heavily by Taxi Driver, this project was overall able to make me combine creativity with a more deeper meaning. I also believe that this overall built me as a student, not only as a student, but as a person. I think it reflects both my skills and my ideas as a media student. Finally, I want to end off with the finishing and topping on everything in this project.